Another cool thing that's been happening in our space. I was on with Dan, and we talked. It was somebody that super chatted us,
Yeah.
and was talking about this.
Did you have his life partner on with him? Or?
He's not gonna ever get away from that. But no, we talked. It was some lovely lady. She super chatted us, letting us know that, you know, out of meeting Dan and then kind of finding and kind of falling in favor with the rest of the space, she had also found Lady Desiree, who, shout out to her, and now they're collaborating on a project. She's a very talented musician, and I was like, that's been one of the cooler things that's happened in our spaces, being able to see the collaborative stuff. Like we meet each other, we click on all cylinders, and sometimes, hell, oftentimes, it has nothing to do with the thing that you're creating, right? It's like, oh, okay, we connect on a different level, and oh, you happen to be into that, I happen to be into this. Why don't we collaborate and do something creatively? It's been very cool to see that happen in our space time and time again and again. I do think that's the way of the future. The audience seems to be responding to stuff like this, and I really think a lot of it has to do with, you know, so much of this is happening organically. And the audience, customers, these guys are smart. They can pick up on that. They know when you got your foot in a project where you actually have some sort of passion in it and care about it. And that's what these alternative sort of methods have allowed us to do, to get out there and you know, be ourselves, create, collaborate, and come up with these final projects that
stop, collaborate, and listen.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
Bringing back the ice, but no, I love that.
Shout out Vanilla Ice.
It's dude, it's how things used to be made.
Yeah.
Right? Not always in American comics, but back in the 70s, 80s, whatever, an artist and a writer could kind of bump into each other. Hey, we should really work on a thing. It might wind up having to be a creator-owned thing, might have wound up having to be on Vertigo or something. That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. Unless, of course, you're an ism and ist, you know what I mean? Then whatever. But now it's like, you got a checklist. Okay, we got to have X number of whatevers, right? We got to have X number of Latinos, whatever. And it's gotten to the point of high comedy. In the early aughts, I remember, as I'm sure you do, the cause célèbre was butt sex Americans, shall we call them. And Brian K. Vaughan, do you remember Brian K. Vaughan when he jumped on Ultimate X-Men?
Yes.
It was replete with gay agitprop. You know, Colossus had a craven for cock all of a sudden, and it was like I don't understand. By the way, anyone else reading anything into the fact that Brian K. Vaughan made the only communist on the X-Men a Mo? Anyone? But no, like that's the classic example. It's like they had a checklist.
Yeah.
And okay, at a certain point we got to get to this. At a certain point we got to get to this. And storyline, they fell by the wayside. Natural collaborative effort fell by the wayside. Two people having a mutual interest. This is literally how Ghost of the Badlands happened, by the way.
Yeah.
Was I had been posting tweets, or I had made a video about Westerns. Why Westerns matter. That was the video. And George saw it, and it inspired him, and he wanted to do a Western. And we wound up just DMing each other. He got bit by the Western bug. I got bit by the Western bug. And somehow it was like he was between projects, and he was like, okay, it's now or never. We got to shit or get off the pot. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll shoot out a script. And that's how this happened. That's the natural way for these things to happen. That isn't allowed. That isn't permitted to happen in the American comic industry, at least not at the big two.
Oh, no, not even close. Thanks for watching. Be sure to head over to Rippaverse.com to check out our comic book company. We have books, plenty of merchandise, and even some glorious animations from Rippaverse Studios. Next up, possibly our most anticipated book thus far, Yaira.